Back. We are going to be talking about BlackRock and Vanguard buying up small electrical concerns, and this is all part of the ESG green scam. This is how they're going to put all the direct pressure on them, make them conform to all of this international governance and carbon credits and all these different things. So let's jump right into the article so we can talk about this.
Then you go over there. Boop. There you go.
Once again, the Trump and Biden administrations. This is always unilateral, y'all. All of this shenanigans, all the corruption. This is the uniparty system. This is the two wings of the same bird. All right. So once again, Trump and Biden administrations have proven that federal agencies, and you might as well just say Republicans and Democrats. You know, we don't have to pigeonhole it to Trump and Biden here.
That's true. That's true.
Have proven that federal agencies that were initially established to protect American consumers are nothing more than conduits for deep state control, which is why it's vitally important for more states to begin shunning any and all federal control. I completely agree with that. I would say shun the predominance of control and deregulate, localize. The closer we can get any type of governance decentralized and get it more local, the better. Not that local governments are corrupt, but it's much easier to manage and maintain and to actually have some type of transparency the closer home it gets. And certainly it shouldn't be decentralized to one centralized location like the district criminals. I mean, that was a massively major issue to begin with. And it's the same thing. I don't think that it should be centralized in Austin here in Texas either. You know, let each county run their own stuff and just decentralize and quit all and all the reason the feds get away with all this control is because they got all their strings and all their different grants and funding from their tax dollars.
Of course.
That's how you end up with stuff like this. During the last two administrations, two of the world's biggest investment managers, BlackRock and Vanguard, were allowed to purchase huge stakes in local utilities, which is a problem because in most cases around the country, there's only one utility company that serves a wide swath of the population.
That's very true.
In April, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC, approved a request from BlackRock to increase its ownership up to 20% of a public utility's voting shares without being deemed an affiliate and incurring the regulatory scrutiny and disclosures that come with that. To gain FERC approval, BlackRock and Vanguard promised they'd be passive. We promise we'll be passive investors. We're not liars. We didn't become multi-trillion-dollar conglomerates by lying. We did it by being honest. We didn't do it by embezzling and laundering drug money and
raiding and pillaging.
BCCI and all these other things. HSBC. The predominance of most of these international banks are drug and sex trade money and human trafficking money and all that stuff. They promise to be passive investors and not use their share ownership to influence management. No, they just want to buy a large stake out of the goodness of their heart, and they just don't want to be don't want to be held to any scrutiny. And the reason that they don't want any regulatory scrutiny is because they're not doing anything wrong. Right?
Yeah,
and that's the junk that you always hear
totally not
from
shady.
statist bootlickers is like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, well, why are you so worried about another 3 trillion laws that you don't even know what they are? If you're not doing anything wrong, I mean, why don't you want a camera in your house listening to you and
Simply Safe
and broadcasting everything you're doing if you're not doing anything wrong? Crazy, man. Crazy. Hello, 1984. I want 1984 back. Oh, well, good. They promised.
Oh, good.
But why else buy these utilities? And this is why Tractor Supply, okay, we report on Tractor Supply and all their ESG that they're implementing. They've been bought out by large venture capital, right?
That's
and
true.
that's how this stuff happens. You know, you'll have these normal companies that want to supply goods and services. They want to solve a need, solve a problem. And here you got some stinking farm store that's doing all this transhumanist nonsense and just polluting the population. And we'll be launching a video tomorrow morning explaining a lot of this, and it'll be very interesting. I think y'all will appreciate it. Due to the monopolistic nature of utility companies, and because they hold so much importance over people's lives, any investment of more than $10 million has to be approved by FERC. However, as the Epoch Times noted further, BlackRock and Vanguard received blanket approval by Joe Biden. Oh no, it says in 2019. Well, I didn't think Joe Biden was president in 2019 because Joe Biden is all the ills of all of America. I mean, it's the Biden administration. There's no way that the Trump administration
He's the worst president
could have done that. That's just not possible. I mean, they do everything right, and America was great again, and everything was perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
And
then that pesky,
go MAGA
sleepy.
To surpass this limit for 3 years, and BlackRock was just given blanket approval for another 3 years.
Oh, good.
Wow, so that's weird. So regardless of the administration, the huge technocratic venture capital, conglomerates that got all the TARP money when George Bush said we need to abandon free market principles to save the free market, and so he gave away all of our tax dollars to save the free market and to bail out all those banks that were too big to fail so that they could sit on that money, buy up all the local guys, and then be way too big to fail. Right? Which was completely corporate fascism, hybrid communism, exactly what they have in China. Okay, exactly what they have in China. Yeah. So, except we don't even, as a government, because we need to maintain this illusion of democracy, we can't say that the government owns it. So we just let the technocratic nonsense. What are you doing, son? I'm trying to read.
Sorry. Well, I saw you were talking, so I was just checking that the live stream's still doing it.
It's streaming. Okay. So that will make 6 total years that the federal agency set up to protect against outside investments in utility companies has allowed outside investment in utility companies, completely negating the agency's purpose. Man, I seem to think that there was some kind of center. There's another government agency, the Center for Disease Distribution or something, and they were set up to protect the consumers against disease distribution, but somehow they propagated disease distribution. But I forget how that goes. That was a really long time ago. That was like, and that was under the Trump administration. So obviously it wasn't bad. It was only good. It was only good.
Well, it all depends on what side.
But what are you? What are you, a Democrat? What are you, a Democrat? No, thankfully, I'm not a Democrat.
I'm neither. And you're like, their mind explodes. They're like, what?
I opt out? And why? Money, of course. It's always about money. Doesn't matter if they bleed red or bleed blue. It's always about money. Nevertheless, the investments have begun to set off alarm bells in the offices of both conservative and liberal state attorneys general. Last month, 13 AGs petitioned FERC obviously unsuccessfully, to deny the investment firm's request for the 3-year extension, claiming that their citizens would be harmed if the utility companies are then compelled to stop utilizing fossil fuels in lieu of wind and solar. And if these AGs are legit, they need to start suing and actually doing something about this nonsense.
For real. Instead
of getting railroaded, Vanguard is not entitled to a blanket authorization to acquire substantial equity and voting power in utility companies, the AGs argued. Vanguard and BlackRock are the same two venture capitals that have been purchasing all of this residential real estate, just skyrocketing, right? Because you'll own nothing and be happy, right? If they just buy into all this residential real estate, they make housing unaffordable, right? And then we'll rent it back to you, Johnny.
Oh, thanks.
After we've just hyperinflated the market, which is going to drive up rental prices as well.
Yeah.
And then they'll get all the tax breaks, right? They'll get all the tax breaks, and they won't pay any taxes. Vanguard's own public commitments and other statements have, at the very least, created the appearance that Vanguard has breached its promises to the Commission by engaging in environmental activism and using its financial influence to manipulate the activities of the utility companies in its portfolio, the petition said. A hearing in this matter is warranted to determine the extent to which Vanguard has violated the 2019 authorization and whether granting Vanguard a blanket authorization is contrary to the public interest. We have to do an investigation on this. Let's spend more money! Woo. And it'll be a 3-year investigation, and we'll write a book, and we'll redact half of it over what do they always say? It's redacted for national security purposes.
Exactly.
Why are you guys laughing?
Oh,
why are you guys? This is serious. Why are you laughing? What else are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I don't want to cry with everybody watching. And this is a comedy show, so
it's true.
There you go. This is a comedy show. So if you didn't know that, well, go.
This is actually a script that we're reading right now. This is not even reality.
Some FERC officials echoed the concern. FERC Commissioner Mark Christie stated, the claim that huge asset managers such as BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard are merely passive investors in publicly held corporations, investing purely for the benefit of their beneficiaries.
Oh, thank you.
Many of whom are retirees receiving pensions, is no longer credible. BlackRock, in particular, has been openly aggressive in using its massive financial power to influence corporate policy in areas far attenuated from the legitimate money management goals of protecting the incomes and investment interests of its beneficiaries, he added. Charlie Munger, the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, which is chaired by Warren Buffett, agreed, stating in February that we have a new bunch of emperors, and they're the people who vote the shares and the index funds. I think the world of Larry Fink, but I'm not sure I want him to be my emperor. Well, I think Larry Fink is a Fink. What an appropriate name. Your mother named you right, you Fink. Republican senators agree. Oh, good. A retail investor, that'll matter. A retail investor who buys an index fund does not own the stock in the fund, said a December report by the Senate Banking Committee's GOP members. Those stocks instead are owned by the fund, which means the fund's manager may vote those shares, even though they buy that voting power with OPM. That voting power gives asset managers like the big three enormous influence. What these activists have figured out is that any radical policy that they can't get enacted through government can be advanced through corporate America by hijacking trillions of dollars in voting rights from everyday Americans' retirement accounts, noted Senator Bill Hagerty from Tennessee. The economy of a first world power cannot sustain itself on wind and solar power, Just ask Germany. That is absolute statistical fact.
It's true.
So there you go. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. These three large VC firms are sucking up these shares, and they are directly in violation of all the rules and the laws and the things, all the same rules and laws and things that none of us can get away with violating. But if you're big enough and you got enough money and the rules don't apply, and you're part of the technocratic oligarchy, and you're part of the they, them, those, and you're in tight with the district of criminals, and you're in with the Bloods and the Crips and the Reds and the Blues, you can do whatever you want, and you can get a 3-year pass, and then at the end of that 3-year pass, you can get another 3-year pass. And then when some illusionary check and balance says, hey man, what are you doing? You were created to make sure that this doesn't happen, and you're facilitating it. Go back the way you came from, kid. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. Forget about it. Bada boom, bada bing. Hey, yo. Hey, Joey, you show this kid the door. State AG, forget about it. We're the big dogs. We the district of criminals over here. Forget about it. Bada boom, bada bing.
So true. So true.
Oh, man. It's crazy. And it's, the corruption, and it's so pervasive, and it's so ubiquitous. And it's, what we always like to point out is it's so, it's not partisan. The corruption is absolutely not partisan. It's absolutely pervasive, and it's red and it's blue. And they don't let you play at the top unless you're ready to play the game. And
Sure.
and we as constituents and as citizens, to all of these normalcy biased people that want to soothe their conscience by saying that, it's politics and it's complicated. It's complicated, and it's been so complicated that here we are. So yeah, that's a really cute how it's complicated. It's actually, what the reality is. It's really very basic and simple, and it's as basic as simple as man is a man and a woman is a woman, and that's how complicated it's gotten, right? That's how complicated it's gotten. Now all of a sudden
where did you learn this this knowledge from? How do you know those things? Did you have to go to college for
Thankfully,
years?
the reason that I still know these things, I
Is
did
you
go to
dropped out?
college, but I dropped out, and I do, and I emphatically reject the concept. All you need to do is look at the new requirements that I think it's the state of Kentucky, and they are considering removing algebra.
Algebra?
As a requirement to go to college. Johnny doesn't even need to know algebra.
So it was the entry was here, and now it's
yeah. Well, because all these government school cogs are a bunch of num-nums.
Yep.
And they can barely play video games.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Exactly.
And they got the
thing.
They got the
So their
fair and
IQ
cleavage.
just went to the floor.
They got their fair and cleavage. And there went their IQ. It wasn't low enough from the Black Mirror and the video games and the video gamer dum-dums.
So true. So
They've
true.
never breathed fresh air or, built a fort or done normal stuff.
Shot a deer.
Just skateboarded the concrete jungle or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with skateboarding.
No.
Skateboard. Skate or die!
So what's tomorrow's video going to be about?
So tomorrow's video is going to be about a feller named Yuri Bezmenov.
Okay.
From the 70s. And it's very incredibly relevant.
Just before my time.
Yes. That was almost before my time.
Yeah, almost.
Might have been before my time. I'm going to look at the original date on that. But
okay.
Very relevant to what we're currently experiencing. And it's I don't know if you all are as you interact with people on social media, and you always wonder what may or may not be a bot, or what may or may not be a signature reduction personage, or what may or may not be a whatever. But there's like really weird comments, like when we did the China Uncensored video, and it was only like a handful. You get like, y'all don't understand about China and Russia. They're actually great. You know, China and Russia have been great. I mean, they didn't China didn't have like mandatory abortions and limit the size of families to one child. They never did that.
Yeah.
They never did that. You're believing that Western propaganda.
All right, well, send me some stuff and prove it, dude. Like, I mean...
Well, my buddy was like a missionary in China for 8 years and lived there and had kids there, and and we know a family currently living in Russia, and we correspond with them. And and I would say you are false, and I don't know, and then I'm like, what's the premise of like saying, then they want to paint Putin as like this Orthodox Christian dude. The guy's straight up KGB, and it's the same KGB that Reagan, and the Red Scare and all that stuff. It's the same people, and they're still there. They weren't defeated, just like the Nazis weren't defeated, Operation Paperclip, and the beat goes on and stuff. And it's just, it's weird when you get this bizarre like co-intel like. But yeah, now there's and then you have others that with the whole Hitler thing, and and praising Hitler and all the great things that he accomplished. So it's just a lot of real, but it is clown world, and it is 1984. That's true. So I become less and less astonished and incredulous by the correspondence. So. And I always think like, wow, nothing surprised me anymore. But every now and then somebody will surprise me. I'll be like, wow, I thought I'd heard the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life, but I should write this down. This is a good one.
Should be a book.
I need to, the book of stupid. I think
I
could sell that. The book of stupid.
The book of stupid. That has a good ring to it. So,
all right, y'all. So keep an eye out. That video
tomorrow, roughly around 10 o'clock, just like yesterday's video. No, that was today's video. Just like always, shouting that out, so then people that are watching this right now, this evening, will know tomorrow that we're going to be posting a video around 10:30. Also, you want to go ahead and talk about the website? Yeah,
this is a value for value proposition. So, I mean, if you love what we're doing and you appreciate it, check out our website. We have really cool T-shirts, and gives you. It's a conversation starter. Hey, I wore all of our different T-shirts on our cruise, and I had my buddy Chris. I don't know if my buddy Chris is watching, but I was wearing Make Orwell Fiction Again, and this complete stranger walked up to me.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, brother, I think we were twins separated at birth," or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I got to talk to Chris, and he liked my Make Orwell Fiction Again T-shirt.
And then
and then I had a compounded globalist, and I'd walk around the boat.
Compost. You said compound.
Compound.
It's your little bit of slurry Joey B.
Compound.
It's in your genetics.
It's my ginger firewater.
Firewater.
But I got a lot of compliments. You can have some great conversations.
Yeah, go check them out.
If you check out the rock the T-shirts, and value for value. So if you like something, hey, we're not even asking for a donation. They're great too, and that helps. And if that's easier and simpler for you, you can do that.
Go ahead.
But we offer highly consumable products at a.
We even have like
price.
Stickers too. So I mean, if you only want to support us for like a couple bucks too.
Buy some merch. But we appreciate y'all. We appreciate all the support.
Yes.
The raving fans, and we appreciate all the constructive criticism.
Yeah.
We even enjoy the hate.
We kind of do.
It kind of feeds.
Feeds
it gives us something to laugh about.
Exactly.
And this is a comedy show, so keep that in mind. This is a comedy show. So, and I mean, in clown world, everything's a joke.
It's
so,
true.
I mean,
it's true.
So there you go, y'all. Well, thanks for hanging out. And any parting words, Matthew?
If BlackRock shows up at your door wanting to like buy your farm or buy something, don't let them buy it, or go into or be like partners with you.
Hot tip.
Hot tip. So, all right.
He's not an investment advisor.